Havatai, welcome everyone. There's a very big, there's very interesting, a few places where it says that if a person does things, right, a person has to have Beracha in life. Meaning to say, even Parashat, you have to have Beracha in the Parashat. You could have Parashat, but sometimes the Beracha is missing in the Parashat. So how do you do that? How do you get the Beracha in the Parashat? Very simple. It's very simple. You do what is right. I'll explain. You see a lot of places in the Gemara, well, I'll give you an example tonight, where it says, "En ro'eh siman beracha le'olam." If you do this, it says you'll never see beracha ever. You get crazy. What is that? What's going on over here? What could it be? I'll give you an example. One example, the Gemara says, if you're working on a time where the rabbi said not to work, you'll never see beracha from that. You heard that? Example. Example. The Gemara says specifically on Tisha B'Av. Tisha B'Av, you're going to work? The Gemara says, Beferush, according to Rabbi Akiva, it's in the 4th perek at the end of Masechet Ta'anit. It speaks about, says, you work on Tisha B'Av, you'll never see beracha from that money. Oh, the guy comes home. Oh, look at that. He made $1,000 to $10,000. But the beracha, there's no beracha in the money. Same thing, kol sheken v'kol sheken on Shabbat itself. You imagine a guy goes to work on Shabbat. It's a true story that happened. A guy came to me and said, Rabbi, I've been working on Shabbat. I want to tell you a story. This is what he tells me. He physically told me the story. He said he worked on Shabbat. He had a safe, whatever, some safe what he had inside his store, whatever, things like that. He said Friday night when he left, they broke in through the AC on top of the roof and they were able to steal all the money that I made. That whatever was made, all the money was gone. So you need beracha in your money, and the way you get the beracha in the money, if you are doing what you are required to do. Again, and we see that. Why am I telling you that in this week's Parashat Mishpatim? What does it have to do with anything? I'll tell you. But one thing is for certain. Let's say, for example, a guy cheats in business. Hey, he made crazy amount of money. Do you think he's having beracha from that money? Do you think? I'm asking you. Do you think? I don't think so. How are you having beracha in the money that you stole from somebody else? It doesn't even make sense. Why? Because a lot of times a person might have thoughts, oh, I'll cheat this way and I'll cheat that way and I'll make this and I'll make that. It's not even worth it. There's not going to be beracha in that money. It's not even worth it. What are you doing? Well, it doesn't even make sense. What are you doing? You know, somebody was telling me he was booking. What is that? Oh, that's me? Am I live? Am I live on that thing?
Clicking next, that thing won't go.
So good, right? So what am I saying? I'm saying that the beracha, you have to do what's right. And why am I telling you that this week's parasha? I have a very big question, and I'll give you the answer through this. Listen to this. Last week, right before, at the end of Parashat Yitro, it speaks about the Mizbeach, the building of the Mizbeach. This week, it speaks about laws, a lot of laws of Ben Adam lehaviro, like a lot of laws about it, right? And then next week, we're going to go back and learn about what? About the Mizbeach. So wouldn't it make sense? You just finished Yitro speaking about Mizbeach. So continue with the halachot of the Mizbeach. Why are you stopping in the middle, speaking about Ben Adam lehaviro, how do you treat your friend in business, things like that, all business ethics, things like that, and then go back to speak about the Mizbeach? Does that make sense to you? Say all the things about the Mizbeach and then speak about friends. Don't do this to your friend. Don't do that to your friend. What does it have to do with this now? Should I tell you the answer? Very simple. Because a person might think there's a mizbeach, and what do you do on the mizbeach? You give what? Korbanot. So what do? So you'd say, okay, fine. Imagine your friend gives you a sheep. He says, listen, I'm going away for the next week. Do me a favor. Can you watch my sheep? Say, sure. He has 10 of them. What do? As he's away, you go to the mizbeach and you give his sheep. Make sense? You give his sheep. He comes back, says, oh, I gave you 10 sheep. Where is it? No, I'm going to give you back none. So where's the 10? No, listen, at the end of the day, I was watching it for you. You didn't pay me. I took my own payment. I took the sheep and I brought it for Hashem. This is what I wanted to do. It's mizbeach. Listen, I have rights. No, I'm watching your sheep. This is my payment. What are you doing? The Torah has to specify exactly how to deal with people's money in between everything. Why? Because we don't want to take somebody else's money and start using it for what you think is right. So therefore, it's saying, I don't want this korban. What are you doing? It's disgusting. What are you doing? You're taking somebody else's money. It's the guy who takes somebody else's money, he gives charity. Tzedakah. Wow. Everything was Sadiq. Wow, look at the Sadiq. And the guy is sitting there. This guy took my money. He's putting his name on the thing. It's my money. He took my money. You understand what I'm trying to say here? The point? Like, what are you doing? You think you're going to get Beracha from this? It doesn't even make sense. A fellow was telling me he was trying to book flights and this, that. So he was booking a flight and it was expensive. For maybe it was 15-20 grand. He pays the guy. So now he's taking the money and he's going to deliver the ticket. Does it make sense to hold it? When you pay for a ticket, you get it right away, no? Yes or no? Am I wrong or no? Yeah. You get it right away. 3, confirmation. So he's telling me a true story. He sends the confirmation. So the guy calls the airline. Oh, this is my confirmation. I'm making sure that this is confirmation and this is my tickets. So they said, yeah, you confirmed, but you're not reserved. You confirm, meaning to say you're reserving, but we don't have it committed. I said, what does that mean? No, it means that it could be potentially a ticket. Okay. So the guy calls back every other week. They're saying, no, it could be. So what's going on over here? He calls back the guy. I said, I paid you almost 15 grand. Where's the tickets? What's going on? Oh, you don't know. This, that. For 3 months, he's pulling his leg with his money. Be honest. Either give the money back or don't give the money back. But don't play him like that. What am I trying to say is, you think they're going to have beracha with the money of somebody else? It doesn't even make sense. How are you going to have beracha on the money? And therefore, the Torah is telling you in this week's parasha, be careful with people's money. Be careful in business. Be careful with parnasah. Be careful. Why? Because at the end of the day, look, it starts talking about last week about mizbeach, and then it has a whole break about people, how to deal with people's belongings, and then it speaks about the mizbeach again. It's trying to show you, because don't bring things on the mizbeach that don't belong to you. Don't use somebody else's goods that doesn't belong to you. Finished. There's a very famous story. I'll tell you a story that happened. I was in the park, and at the park, it was like Kol Moed Pesach. This past week, the last past one. We went to a big park, and what happened was, one of I forgot what it was. We were playing. I don't know. Somebody was playing soccer, and the soccer ball got stuck in the tree. So he tells a guy, oh, can we play some football? He has a football. The guy has a football. He says, oh, can we play some football? Yeah, we need to play football. So they're playing football like that. All of a sudden, after that, they take the football, and it's like a brand new the thing, and they start chucking it at the tree to get the soccer ball off. Is that allowed? Yes or no? What do you think? No. Again, listen to the story. The case is very simple. We're in the park, and I was there. I'm watching this whole situation going on. They're playing soccer. The ball's stuck in the soccer ball. So now they're asking the guy with a football, by the way, can we play with your football? Yeah, sure. chucks the football, and now, once he got the football, he sees the guy taking it and chucking it all the way onto the branch to get his soccer ball off. And is that the right thing? Is that allowed? Yes or no?
No, because he didn't tell him he's going to chuck it on the
So the guy, I'll tell you what happened. The guy with the football, hey, he starts screaming, hey, what are you doing? It's my football. I never told you want to play, but don't take it to use to get your soccer ball off from the tree. And let's say my football gets stuck, and also you what's it called? You're ruining, if it hits branches, you're ruining the whole side of the football. What are you doing? So you understand what I'm saying? So that incident stopped, and I was debating, is that right? Is that right, allowed or not allowed? And honestly, it's brought down in Gemara that says there was a story with a rabbi, Abba Helkiah, where one time he was carrying something, and on one side he was carrying wood. And it says on one side of his back he was carrying the wood. On this side he wasn't. So everybody was wondering, you had a towel. One he had a towel over here, and one he had no towel. So they're all asking him, why would you carry wood on your bare skin? Put it on the towel. You know what he answers him? He answers him, because I borrowed this towel. The towel is used for what? You take a shower, you wash yourself. It's not used to put on wood and get it all ruined with wood. So therefore you see, with people's money and people's belongings, you have a whole torah about what? About how do you use it. It's not just hefked. And that's why it's very, very important. If you're in business, and you have to be, there's two things. It says, how do you become rich? How do you become wealthy? One of the Gemara in Masechet Nida, it says, of course, you'll tell you in business, be honest in business. Of course, the Ma'aseh we know. Everybody knows the Ma'aseh. But these people don't know. Be honest in business. And they're going to ask you after 120. What's the question? One of the questions they ask is, Nasata venatata be'emunah. Were you honest in business? And I'll never forget the day that question came back to a friend of mine, to me. Okay, listen to this. When I was back in Israel, I was 18, and I saw a phone card. Listen to the story. I saw a phone card, and back in the day, it wasn't like a cell phone, this, that. You took a phone card, you called. And it was, let's say, the cheapest was 30 cents a minute. 30 cents a minute. I went to a place where I was able to get it 7 cents a minute. And you had to buy minimum 200 minutes. 30 cents the other people were paying. My whole yeshiva was paying 30 cents. I found the connection to pay 7 cents. I came back to yeshiva. I said, I put a sign, 25 cents a minute, 200 minutes. The whole entire yeshiva bought from me. The whole place. Everybody. Overnight, I was flying hotcakes. I went to the guy, I need another shipment. I need a shipment like that. What's going on? Boom, boom, boom. Selling. I flew. I literally made maybe a few $1,000s in a week. A few grand. And I was learning. It just happens to be, I went, I saw the phone guy, I just put a sign, anybody want? Boom, before you know, I did that, and that was it. I stopped after that. Well, listen to the story. After Pesach, I come back, and everybody's using their phone cards. Now I spent the money, and they tell me the company went out of business, and all the cards don't work. Nah, who are they coming to me? They're coming to me. It's a true story that happened. They're coming to me, saying, listen, you owe us money. Now think about it. I spent everything. I bought gifts to my brother, my sister. I'm coming back. What did you get us from Israel? I got you this, sterling silver. Like, it's crazy. I was like, oh, nuts. Bijanin. And I never forget, my friend, his name's Ari. Ari comes to me one day and he says, listen, this is the cards. You have to honor your word. I was like, Ari, but I sold it to them. It says that. He says, you have to honor. And then we were sitting down in Shi'ur. And Ari asked the rabbi in front of me, smart guy. He says, Rabbi, what's one of the 4 questions they're going to ask you after 120? So name the 4 questions. Anybody know the 4 major questions? They ask, everything is going to be Divrei Hashbon, but there's 4 major questions. One is Tzivita Yeshua. You had in mind Mashiach is going to come, Hashem is going to take care of the world. What's the second? You know it? Oh, Kavat Aitim is so important. That's the second question. That's one. That's like they say. This is the first one they ask. Kavat Aitim on Torah. Imagine I'm giving you. You're gonna get a test after 120, and I'm telling you the questions on the test. So the answer. Imagine I'm telling the Torah is telling us what's the 4 questions, and now you got it. This is the questions on the test. I'm telling you the test. You got to get the answers. Kavat Aitim on Torah, which means, did you set aside time to learn Torah? Which means, this is the time I learn. Nobody's stopping me. Because one of the things that the Yetzer Hara loves is to stop you from your learning Torah. He'll do anything to stop you from learning your Torah. You heard what I just said? He'll burn cities down. There was a very famous story. Forget about it. He'll do anything to stop you from learning Torah. Anything in his power. Anything. And I mean it with a passion, because I see it time and time again with my own learning. I see it, and I see what other people's. The guy's learning. All of a sudden, what happened? I had a wedding. Okay, fine. So that's the one. Secondly, no, my second cousin's anniversary. Okay, second, Shev Berachot days. But I say, what happened? He gets the learning. So therefore, when a person sets a set time, a certain specific time to learning, when you have that, in that situation, you know nobody's bothering me this time. And I would advise, let's say you have 2 hours, an hour, shut your phone off completely. Because like that, people say, no, Rabbi, I have my phone on, but I'm not going to look at it. Until you get a notification. Until it buzzes, until this, then you're going to look at it. Of course. All of a sudden, you don't get no notifications the whole day. Nobody's texting you, nobody's calling you. All of a sudden, you open up the Gemara, boom, 3 calls. What is this? Emergency? Yeah, anything is emergency. You go look. Oh, it's like a marketing advertiser. How are you? We're calling from there's that car warranty and this. And I have to get my phone and car warranty. I thought it was an emergency. They called me 15 times. It's gonna always happen because the Yetzer Hara loves to take away from your learning. You should know that, by the way. The Magid, the Malach from Shulchan Aruch, he was teaching him. He said, just know the Yetzer Hara is running after to stop people from learning. That's it. He'll do anything to stop people from learning. Because he knows the second you start learning, the second you steig, the second you learn, you're going to be a different person. So he stops you. Now, the third is, Asakta be'pirya be'ribya. Did you try to have children? And now, the rabbi says, and this is one of the 4. You ready? He says, Nasata venatata be'emunah. Were you honest in your business dealings? Be honest. Were you honest in your business dealings? And the Gemara says, you're working hard, you're doing everything like that, but be honest in business. Now again, people might think, Rabbi, of course we're always honest in business. You're honest in business sometimes until there's maybe a shady area. Is it allowed or is it not allowed? Is it allowed or is it not allowed? Can I do it? Can I not? What's the big deal? That's when the questions come in. That's when the questions where you say, wait. Let me ask the rabbi, is this allowed? Am I allowed to do this? Am I not allowed to do this? That's when the questions come in. And when I heard that, I told Ari, no problem. Every single person, the Beit Din, I went to Beit Din to settle it. Every single person got back whatever they had to get back. Guaranteed it. I guarantee whatever I had back, got back. Now you're going to ask me what happened. I went to the guy who sold it to me. I said, listen, all these cards, you got to refund me this amount. And he gave me the money, and I gave back them their money. And that's how it's solved. But what? A case like that, you would say, it's not my fault, you bought it. How am I supposed to know the company is going to go out of business? You used it. You could have used it. I could have justified it. You had it for 4 months. You had it for 5 months. So what, you wanted to be forever? I understand. I could have said that. I didn't do that. Why? You have to be honest in your business dealings. Whatever it is, you have to be honest in your business dealings. And this is this week's Parashat. How do I know that? Again, first it spoke about the Mizbeach. Then it spoke about people's business dealings inside this week's Mishpatim, how to deal with monetary laws, and then it speaks about the Mizbeach again. Why is that important? Because it's dealing with the laws of the Mizbeach. Why do you speak about people's money in the middle of speaking of the laws of the Mizbeach? Because that is the law of the Mizbeach. Be careful, because you're going to put something on my Mizbeach and it's not yours, and you're going to go give it to me. I don't want it. Yeah? It's an important concept to be learned. It's an important concept to hold in your brain. And again, the question is if it's black and white, it's stealing. The question is where it's shady. Am I allowed? That's when the test comes in. Of course, if it's black and white, I'm not allowed. Nobody's. If it's not allowed, nobody's going to do it. But when it's shady, what do I do? It's the gray. Why the gray? I could do it like this. I could do it like that. Is it honest? I don't know if it's not honest. It might not be so on the point, like that. That's what I'm trying to say.
Price gouging is not allowed.
Okay. That all are hot questions we can talk after. But the bottom line is, you get my point. My point I'm trying to make is honest in business. If it's shady, you ask the rabbi, is it allowed or is it not allowed? You understand? We'll talk after all the halacha questions. We'll talk after. Right now, this is the Parashat Shiur. Everything. Please. So the Beracha. So there's two ways. One way it says, you'll never see Beracha. How? When you're doing things you're not allowed to do. For example, working on Tisha B'Av, working on Shabbat, working on other days where you're not allowed to work on. You work on those days, so you might see money, but there's no Beracha in the money. There's no Beracha in that money. So how do you have Beracha in the money? When you're being honest. So that money has kiyum. That money stays for netzach. That money is healthy, kosher money. Wow. You have Beracha from that. That's the money where, wow, you have Beracha. There were certain institutions, certain organizations where back in the day they would make sure you wouldn't take any donation. Oh wait, where's it coming from? Who's giving it? Like that? Oh, cheshbon. Is it kosher money? Not kosher money. It's a real thing. Is it kosher? Not kosher? And even some of the sefarim. If you look in the beginning of the sefarim, it'll say this was printed with money that wasn't worked on Shabbat. Meaning to say that we didn't take any money that people were Halal Shabbat and made money on Shabbat. We didn't take any money from them because we wanted the Sefer to be holy. Imagine you go and you buy a Sefer Torah with what money that you worked on Shabbat. You worked Shabbat. You say, no, Rabbi, don't worry, I'm going to work on Shabbat, but I'm going to donate the money. What do? You buy a Sefer Torah. Now you take out the Sefer Torah on Shabbat. Like, that's my Sefer. That's my Sefer. What do you think? What's your thoughts right away? That's the Sefer that we're reading. This guy worked on Shabbat, was saved whatever he saved, and he bought a Sefer, and now we're reading that same Sefer on Shabbat? How could that be? And they're reading it, and Moshe Lemor. And the guy smiling, see, this is my Sefer. The guy, you Meshnoni, crazy or something? You just went out of your way, you stole the money, you this, that, and you buy it like that. You have to have kosher money. It's ethics. By the way, these are ethics. This is common sense. But even the Torah tells you the common sense. And it's so clear. Because I was very bothered. You look at that, you see, it speaks about Mizbeach, then it stops, then it speaks about Mizbeach. What's going on? The next Parashat, we're going to speak about the Mizbeach again and again. So why do you stop about people's monies? Because we want to teach you how important it is. Is that clear? Good. And you will receive the Beracha when you do right. You will receive when you're honest. You will get that. Wow, you'll say, how did it even happen? This deal came through, and that deal came through, and that deal came through, and that deal came through. Because you were straight. Very successful businessmen, they say, be straight. Talk straight. Don't play games. Do real. What's real? And with that, that's a very important point. I'd like to discuss one more point, please. And that is, in this week's parasha, it speaks about that was all part one, right? That was all about money. We should actually stop that right here and start. If we want to start something else, we can start something else. But put a pause on that. Shlomi, pause it, please. Okay, that's very important.